if they do have an elevated temperature. Schools are doing their best, especially for older students, to have a place within their school walls to house students that may show symptoms, just so that they can get in contact with parents, and also have a medical support system in play. Uh, with a lot of the primary schools, kinder through third, they're dropped off, with their parents. So you can kind of test their temperature right in front of the parent, and if for some reason their temperature is elevated, after 4 or 5 tries, then that might be a red light as well. Then of course the third plan is, basically everybody returning to school with just social distancing and play in certain areas, which I don't think is going to be a popular plan. I don't think that's going to happen at all.
Yeah, I know in our township for our school district, what they did was we had to go. Actually, my son, his school teacher, what they did was they gave us a survey of like 3 options we wanted to choose. So basically, that feedback will go back to the superintendent, and then to
Right.
the school board, and also back to the residents of our township to see what decision we would make. So good information, Corey.
Yep.
All right, next question. Do you believe schools have the necessary resources and space capacity for proper social distance in classrooms, lunchrooms, and gyms?
So I think the question isn't if they have it, because I don't think anyone had the proper anything, because this pandemic came out the blue. So at the very beginning, I don't really see any district being prepared for it. But I can say this: we're a lot farther in planning now than we were at the beginning of the pandemic. And with the plan coming together, I feel as though if a district says that they're ready to receive students, then they're ready to receive students, and they've come up with a plan uh, that will, service the students to the best of their abilities. But for the most part, and anyone, please correct me if I'm wrong, there should be a process in which the public is involved with the planning. If not you directly, someone that represents the public, and there should be a strong communication between neighborhood schools and what's going on with the return. If that's not the case, then you as parents should definitely be reaching out to your home school or to the district and finding out what's going on. Because if they're saying they're ready to bring kids in, then that means that they've come up with a plan. And with that plan, they usually include everyone, from community to anyone that's investors in the district, to of course teachers and administrators, and of course to the executive branch as well, meaning the superintendent and assistant superintendent.
Next question for you. Do you think we putting our kids at risk sending them back? Well, we kind of have this question a little bit more in detail. Would you send your school kids back at their school age kids? That's basically like my son and your kids.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't feel as though a school would put together a plan that would jeopardize our kids. And if they put the plan in play, as long as I'm in the loop, I should know everything about that plan, and I should feel comfortable about it. And if there were any pieces to the plan that I don't feel comfortable, about me as a parent, I should have brought those concerns to the school or to the district. So I'm gonna say yes, because I would consider myself, a parent that's in the know and that's involved in the process. So if I'm involved in the process, then I had a part in putting that plan together, and I'm fully informed on what the school plans on doing when they open their doors.
My next question for you: if homeschooling continues, how will students relate to teachers they never met? Or are there any provisions for individuals meeting recession with students, teachers, and parents?
So, again, I question that. With the technology, I mean, the way that we're actually having this discussion right now, and I'm seeing familiar people to my right. This is the way the classrooms that we've been running. This is how they've been all during the pandemic, and we do this 3 times a week, multiple times a day with our kids. So if schools have been, taking advantage of technology, then they should fully be aware of who their teachers are. So if we are still on an online process when the school district starts, there should be a lot of communication at where the students should sign in on Zoom. But this is another problem too. A lot of districts don't extend, I guess, devices, and I know that has been a concern. It was brought up here. So when that was brought up here, a lot of money came from the state and making sure schools could actually give the community devices for their students. And another positive that actually came out after that was we have Cox here. So Cox is like Comcast. Comcast actually came up with the system where they came up with free Wi-Fi and everything for students. So that was a really good resource for here. So if you do have the access to a device, if you do have the access to Wi-Fi and your student can be online, I don't see them not knowing who their instructors are. But let's just say that is the case. Then it's time for us parents to act. And I would honestly, I would categorize that as liable behavior on the school's part. If parents don't know who the instructors are. So you as a parent should definitely be blowing the school up, and just, when I say blowing up, I mean calling. I don't mean actually blowing up the school. You should be calling the school, making sure they know you, and making sure that they know that you at the first chance want to know who's going to be interacting with your child. I urge parents to do that all the time. Your tax dollars are paying for that education. Be more involved. Go up to the school, meet the principal, make sure you know who the teachers are. And, those first meetings could happen whenever you decide is the best time.
Gotcha. Next question. Where do you see school athletics going in light of COVID-19? Will athletics continue? If not, what can parents do to replace this activity? What options are available? Now, one thing I know is the fact is I got Jamil involved. It's called I9 Sports, and I know they're trying to develop like a COVID-19 protocol. What do you think?
So that's a tough one, John. Like, honestly, that's extremely tough. Of course, you know me. I mean, sports took me all the way to college and paid for it. So it's very important to me. But where we are in this pandemic right now, I don't really see it being safe. And I'm thinking as a parent. I honestly think that with the whole sports piece, your kids are going to be, if the right procedures are in play for safety, and I'm involved as a parent, and I see that it looks like a beneficial situation maybe, but right now, from what I've been hearing, I don't know how comfortable I would be with my kids actually participating in sports. I would have to get a lot more information, but I could be wrong. Hopefully, especially, let's just say you're in a situation where your son or daughter is a senior, and this year might dictate whether or not they receive a scholarship. That might mean it's time for you to act. And I'm not saying you to coach the kids, but just make sure that there are procedures and process if they are going forward to make sure everyone's safe.
And this next question, and like one thing I see on the news, we talk about the fact is like a lot of kids that are playing sports and everything, like with the stopping, that's it's heavily affecting them. It's a good thing. Like, for example, we talked about, it's a good thing, with Darren, his son, when he got drafted to the NFL, to the Lions, that was good that situation happened. But the next question, how does cutting out organized sports impact school budgets?
Well, it definitely, so I'm not a fan of cutting out sports, but it definitely adds more money in different areas of the budget so that you can spend more, I guess, on academics. or you can, so administrators do a lot of different things with their budgets, and I'm being pretty candid with you guys so that you know. Um, they move money all the time, and it all depends on who the administrator is. Um, an administrator like myself knows the importance of sports, and how it can add a much needed school spirit to any school. Um, I went to Washington High School and I won 2 championships in Philadelphia. One against Frankfort High School, uh, but a lot of administrators might look at a sports program and say, you know what, instead of the sports program, if I cut it and I save $250,000 here, I might be able to hire 4 more teachers, because right now our science scores are down, our math scores are down, and if I can bring more teachers into play, I can split classrooms up so I can make them smaller. So yeah, it would definitely impact the budget in a way where they can add more resources to the classroom, but it would take away from school spirit, and it could possibly take away from a chance that multiple students could have at a scholarship.
Correct. So it was play devil's advocate because again, when we see sports today, we see a lot of African American males and females that's dominating, and that's basically, could be affecting them as well too.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I want to add to that, I may sound biased, but I do think African Americans are the most talented people on the earth. Even though I love everyone and I love what people bring to the table, but we've been in a different dynamic for centuries, and I just think it's created a special person. So yes, we definitely are really, really good at acclimating to sports, but it's funny when you challenge our students in the classroom, the same way we challenge them on the field or on a basketball court or anywhere else in sports, they usually step up there as well. And I always tell our teachers, especially the teachers I talked about, that 80%, instead of you having this whole outlook on our students like you feel sorry or scared of them, why don't you just challenge them the way that you're supposed to be? You'll be shocked to see how they answer you and to see how much they can actually handle, because a big reason why a lot of our kids don't get academic scholarships is because they're not challenged in the classroom, because teachers are already going to the classroom with the mindset that they can't get here, they can't do calculus. Well, how do you know? You never taught it. Why don't you try it and see what happens? So I know I got a little bit off topic, but
I agree with you. It comes from that biased mindset. Don't judge me if you get to know anything about me.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. Okay. Our next question is: do you think, for example, like band, drama, and other school activities will continue in the upcoming year? And like, for example, what about public little leagues?
So when you talk about the budgets, like we talked about, the last question, kind of, if this is a popular piece to a school's makeup, they're going to do everything that they possibly can to keep it in play. But with the state of things now, with trillions of dollars going out into the public to support different parts of the public, school districts are getting money in the front, the front of that pandemic, but at the back end, they're going to start taking money from the school districts. So you could possibly see programs like this start to diminish all around the city, because their budgets will shrink, once everything starts to get back to normal, because they have to make up all the money that they spent to support the country during the pandemic. So like I said, if the program has a lot of support, let's just say you can give boosters or companies to give some money on some fundraisers or something like that, then I could see them definitely staying. But if there's no money and school districts do end up having their budgets cut, then extracurricular activities like that are going to go.
This might be opportunity for us. Like, this is when we talk to our politicians. Say, listen, when they're passing all these stimulus packages and everything, hey, listen, would start bringing this money, you know, into these inner city schools and other schools, so we can like continue these programs and everything. Because now, since you know November is coming, you know, that's the kind of things we need to bring to their attention.
Right. And I mean, you know, just to talk about, you know, the other pandemic that's going on, you know, within our community, um, with racism having such a focused light on it right now, there's a lot of support dollars coming, you know, to the Black neighborhoods as well, to schools for, you know, Black programs, you know, in support. You know, companies aren't dumb. They want to stay popular, and you know, if you're a company like Apple, you pledge $120 million to try to do here, and you know, I've seen that over and over and over and over again. So there'll be chances for you to, you know, get grants or get money. It's just, you know, the strategy that the neighborhood actually comes up to get the money. You know, and the church is perfect. You know, Star Hope. You know, I hope, you know, people have a thumb on what's going on, and seeing all the different support systems that are out there, because it's a chance for a church to bring a lot of services in house if people are willing to put the work in to write grants, to you know, bring young people into church, and to, you know, continue supporting the not so much the Black Lives Matter organization, but you know, the Black Lives Matter movement.
And my next question is, from a youth, how do we change our inner circle of friends to be more exclusive with other races? Because I know one thing I always preach to Jamil is the fact is, you know, we love all people. You know, that's one thing I
Right.
tell him all the time. We don't judge, we love all people.
Right. And that's an excellent question, man, because, and this kind of goes to a strong point of actually being in school in person. You know, it's best that people meet. You know, well, let me start over on that. So school is a very chaotic situation for kids socially. You know, especially in high school. You know, I use high school as an example. Uh, the, it's a shame because we as adults look at school as just straight up education, and high school is strictly a social imbalance, and the kids are just really trying to fit in, and trying to be cool and trying to be accepted. So they really have a disadvantage in a situation like this, uh, especially our Black youth, because you know, there's either two ways they're being looked at. They're being looked at, you know, as, you know, if people want to support them, or people think that they're trouble because of, you know, all the different stereotypes that are out there about us. And, you know, my suggestion as a parent, you know, would be not to tell your student, or tell your kid, tell your kid how to be social, but just give them advice, and give them true advice, on the different people that they meet, you know, on the different people that they hang out with. Because, you know, kids go through social groups, at least 10 or 12 different ones while they're in high school alone. You know, it's not really until you get into your 20s till you start really finding out who your true friends really are. You know the meaning of a friend. I know I was blessed to have different color friends from the beginning, you know, especially going to a school like Washington, because when I was at Washington back in the 90s, it was predominantly white. And it really opened my eyes, coming from, you know, a predominantly Black neighborhood, you know, how people could be great no matter what their colors are. So, you know, you encourage your kid to be social. You know, you just advise them on the people that they meet. Do not take their social life over. I mean, of course, you have to hold kids accountable if they're not doing things that they're supposed to be doing. But just be the best guy that you possibly can. And if you're that kid asking that question, you know, use your judgment. And you know, if you want to make sure that you have a diverse group of friends, and that's your goal, you know, just accept people on their positives, and don't be judgmental.
And our youth want to be able to make such an impact as an adult. With to the positive change of issues, how do you think they go about doing this?
To be honest, they're already doing it. Again, our youth are, especially the youth that we're dealing with right now, they're extremely powerful. They're very outspoken. They just need guidance from us because they're going to be the ones to, start the change. To be honest, uh, I think they should keep the energy going. The best thing that they can possibly do for themselves is educate themselves on their past, educate themselves on how we were treated. Don't be so quick to speak. Do more listening than anything. And no matter who the person is. It's funny. All the people I always say when I'm talking to a lot of my students, the smartest person I've ever met doesn't even have a degree. He's 101 years old and he's just been here longer than me. And he can tell me a whole lot. And that's my wife's grandfather. I mean, he is such a resource. It's not even funny. And when you listen to older people's story, you learn so much from it. So just keep your ears open, listen to what people have to say, do a lot of research, your own research, and come to your own opinions. And then you'll know when to speak and when to act and be that change that we need.
And I agree, like we said, like, and also like, that mentoring, having that person that doesn't, not being judgmental. Listen, like for example, for me and you growing up, Mr. Clarence, how he was a big part in our life, with
Big
sports
part.
and just how we can go and talk to him about anything, and
Yep.
not being judgmental, let us know like we can do, that's cool, but still, always, keep God in your life as well too.
Yep. I've always, it's funny that I learned at an early age that, although I have a master's and a undergrad, it doesn't, all they are keys. The true knowledge and wisdom is, with our older population. And, if we just listen to, all their different experiences, it'll help us make better decisions, because they've been here longer and they know more.
And just listen, I appreciate you, answering all these questions. And just one thing, would you ever consider, you bring a lot of good points up. You ever consider like maybe doing like consulting work or something?
So I'm actually, it's funny you bring that up. And Paige knows this. I'm actually in the process of forming my own business now. So just to kind of put it in plain text, I'm tired of working for school districts and I want to service kids all over. So the best way to do that is to basically start my own program. Once we start our own program, we'll build relationships with different school districts, not just one, and we'll service kids from all walks of life, from all different school districts with different issues and everything else. The program that I've established here has been extremely successful. A lot of students that we receive, have a strong relationship with courts, with cops, and everything else. And I have not once had to call the police or any probation officers on any of our students. As a matter of fact, one statistic that I'm proud of, 72% of the students that we serviced here in Phoenix have successfully removed themselves from probation and continued their learning without any hiccups. But to push my entire agenda to get the whole plan in play, I have to move from underneath a district and working for that district and working for myself so that I can put the plan in place for different districts.
I appreciate Corey. I know your time and everything. Answering all these questions. I really appreciate this.
I appreciate it. It's an honor, honestly, speaking with you, John, and with our Star Hope family, because we do miss you guys. We definitely debated moving out here, but the opportunities were great, and trust me, we wouldn't have left such a strong support system for anything.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Corey. We are so very proud of you, and thanking God for how he's working through you. And we hear your vision and hear your dream, and know that you go on the wings of our prayers, and we believe that you are going to achieve all of that as you touch kids' lives and be the blessing that God created you to be. And our Jonathan, thank you. Jonathan did it like a pro. So we thank you for uh, the way that you contribute to this rich exchange, and I'm thankful for your friendship. That was very clear as you went through this. So thank you for the information that you shared. You given us a lot to think about. Like you said, this nobody has a game plan for the pandemic. Not any of us have been through it, and we're all feeling our way through. And as much information as we can gather is helpful for us to formulate our perspectives, our opinions, and to make our personal decisions, because in the final analysis, it's not the government that will dictate to us. We are empowered to make personal decisions for ourselves and for our children, so that you are helping us to do that. And so we're grateful. And I'm grateful to have your contact numbers, because this is not the last time you'll hear from us. And it's not the last time we'll hear from you. So that we thank God for you. Another great night on Hope Talks. Next week, we have with us Dr. Erica Locke, who is the sister-in-law to Reverend Michael Locke, the wife of his brother Todd. And she's in California. So she's in a place, I believe, that even surpasses the concerns in Arizona about now with regard to the COVID. So the questions that we will be soliciting from you, all of you, for this coming week to prepare for Dr. Locke, is anything having, of course, to do with your medical concerns, your questions, the COVID, and anything that from her area of expertise that we can draw down from. So please get the questions into me and or Reverend Janita Connor. And Corey, tune in. You have the access code. So on Wednesday nights at 7, anything that anytime you are a part of the family, and the distance does not discount that. And I like to say to my kids, there's nothing you can do about it. We're your family. There's nothing you can do about it now. So that thank you all. And Corey, I'm not quite sure. Do you want to close us in prayer?
He said, I told you about that, Ms. Barnes, already. He said he would.
Okay, good.
Sure. You all by your Thank you, Father, for this opportunity for us to share information. I'm hoping that the information that you shared through me would empower our communities and, help our communities make the best decisions for their kids and for these students. Please bless each and every person on this cast and everyone out there that needs a blessing. And, just thank you for giving me the hope and, the knowledge to share with our congregation. Thank you for blessing my family, and, please, Lord, please continue to work through our communities so that we can be in the best place, so that we can strengthen our kids' minds, so that when they come across racism, they know the answers to give. They know how to bring their families in a place so that they can make the right decisions. And please just keep empowering our people, Lord. Thank you for all of our blessings, and thank you for this Zoom chat and these different resources that we have at our hands. And please continue to bless us. And in your name we pray, Lord.
Amen. Amen. Thank you all, and good night.
Good night.
God bless you all. And